Hello, everyone. Hello, Janice.
Hello, Katie. Hi, everyone out there.
Everybody's here, JP. And I
Oh,
wanted to let you know that we're going out on all of our social channels. I wanted to give everyone an update about how we share and how you watch everything on our social. Just very recently, Facebook made a change where we can't broadcast live into groups. So, what I have to do is I have to start the broadcast, go from our bead shop page, and share into our bead shop bead table group and the Great Bead Extravaganza group. So, we're there. We're also on the bead shop page, the bead shop YouTube, the Kate Richburg YouTube. We're everywhere, JP, for your fantastic birthday celebration broadcast. Happy early birthday.
well, thank you. This morning I was in the pool. Oh, thank you, Vicky. This morning, thank you, Lynn.
I'm just going to put up a
Thank you
few
to
JP.
everybody. So
Yeah.
this morning I was in the pool, and someone that I swim with said to me, "Oh, well, how do you broadcast uh, to all those different places?" And I said, "Well, we use something called StreamYard." And she said, "Oh, I'd like to learn how to do that. Will you show me how to do it sometime?" I said, I didn't say I know how to do it. I just said that's what we use. And so I am not tech savvy." And she said, "Oh, okay. You're the one I wouldn't know how to do it. I barely remember from one broadcast to the next how to get
Oh,
my camera right. And but I'm really glad to be here today. Um, and a special shout out to Leslie Rogers. Leslie, I am
I'm
wearing,
gonna I'm gonna make you I'm gonna enlarge you, JP,
okay,
so everyone
I'm
can see
wearing
now.
your lovely, beautiful necklace that you made me, and then you so graciously, out of the blue, just gifted me with this, and I'm so touched. And it's in my colors, and
Oh, it's so nice,
yeah.
JP. I'm grabbing I have them right here, my kitty cat earrings from Leslie. I'll put
Oh,
these on. Um
yeah.
they kind of match what's going on. Janice, we have so many people saying hello
So,
to you. Drea is here doing the moderating. So
yeah.
a big thank you to Drea for doing this. And you and Drea made terrific samples. There we go. I'm gonna wear
Oh,
my
wow.
kitties.
Look at those.
They're a say something earring. That's
They
for
are
sure.
gorgeous. They're
That's for sure.
gorgeous.
I feel so
And they go with
glamorous.
your top.
They do.
Yeah.
It's actually a dress I'm wearing today.
Oh, look at that.
One of those, from my sewing group. It's been a lot of fun
Well, I
doing.
just want to say, first of all, happy Mother's Day to everyone. I know
Yes.
some people go, "Oh, well, I'm not a mother." And I'm going to say to everybody out there, I beg to differ. Absolutely everybody is a mother. There's either a cat or a dog, or your own mother you take care of, or a neighbor, or plants in
Yes, I
the
was going to
living
say
room,
plants. Yes.
what or someone you say hello to in the checkout line, or help someone with their groceries. But we're all mothers, and let us not forget that the world would be an even better place if everybody remembered the mother in them.
That
So
is
happy
true.
Mother's Day to everybody.
Yes, to
Mother is a
everyone.
verb. Yes,
That's
Drea, you're
right.
absolutely right.
That's right. And to all those dads out there who take
Your
on
mothers too.
the mom roles as well. I know a couple of really amazing dads that are doing both uh both roles. So, yes, Mother's Day is great. I know you have a big announcement that we're going to get to, JP, and
Yeah, no, there's no rush.
a very joyous announcement. For Mother's Day, we are Chris and I are taking dinner over to my parents,
Mm,
so we will celebrate a great Mother's Day. I'm sorry, JP, that we're never together on very rarely on your birthday anymore, but a very, very happy and healthy 75 years to you.
yes. Yes.
So, before we get started on your really amazing project, I know that there was something you wanted to share with everyone. So, why don't we do that?
Yeah. First of all, Kate, I am very blessed that I get to celebrate your birthday on your birthday when we're at the retreat, we're together. Um, but I'm sharing this story because I want to get a message out to everybody um, because I I have been really saved, and I mean that in a health way,
Hmm.
by my nurse practitioner, who's my primary care provider. So uh, in December of 2022, I got a cough and it didn't seem to go away. I had sort of like bronchitis, and
Hmm.
I went in to see my primary care, my nurse practitioner, and um, and I'm now with the senior group. You know, there's a group for seniors.
Hard to believe, JP. Hard to believe.
Well, I went kicking and screaming, but you know what? Megan has been an amazing blessing at VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. Anyway, because she's a nurse practitioner and I had this cough, she said, let's get an x ray. And I got an x ray and they found a spot and she said, well, come on in again in a couple of weeks and we'll get another x ray. And they got another x ray and the spot was still there. And then they sent me on my lung. And
Hmm.
then they sent me for a CAT scan and they found that I had really early stage lung cancer. And I want to tell you that I'm all well now. I've gone through chemotherapy. I'm on the other side. I'm in remission. But what I wanted to share with you, because all too often um, we hear from a doctor, well, if you still have the cough in a few weeks, come on back in and get an x ray. And I want to share with you that when you do have a cough, don't let the doctor say, come back in a few weeks. Say, I want an x ray. Janice told me to get an x ray. And I want you to get that kind of clearance right away because when it's caught early, like it was with me, and I don't know if you've seen those commercials for Keytruda on TV, but hey, I'm a Keytruda girl. Um, but I am, you know, absolutely in remission. I feel great. I'm walking. I'm in the pool every day. I don't real, Oh, they did surgery. I forgot to tell you, they
Oh,
did.
yeah, don't forget that part, JP.
Forgot the surgery part. They did take out a lobe. So
They did.
instead of four, I have three. My daughter Ashley said, don't we have five? And I said, no, I better Google that. But we don't have five, we have four. And the beauty of your lungs is that they kind of compensate. So I now feel absolutely like I'm not short-winded or anything. So please take my advice. And one last thing is Drea had said, why don't because I could have told everyone when I found this out, and I'm sorry for keeping it from you, but I know how much you all worry, and I didn't want you to worry, and I knew it was nothing to worry about, and I was going to get on the other side of it, and so that's my good news.
Yeah,
You're
and
not
it's been
retiring.
about a year. You found out, Janice, last year, right before you and I were supposed to go to Tucson.
Yes.
And we talked about it, and you were like, "You know what? I am going to skip Tucson."
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, "Great." I called Christine. Christine stepped
Right.
in. You got everything done. You didn't wait. You didn't even wait the 2 weeks um, that it would have taken for Tucson. You went right in, you got it done. And
Yeah.
over this year, you have completed your chemo. May
Yeah.
I say, with grace and your badass attitude, Janice, you, I'll tell you, you told me once, Janice, and I'm going to get a little, this is the real thing here. You told me once that if a building was burning, you would go in and get me. And you know that not only me, but all of us here who are watching today would go into that burning building and get you. But
Oh,
what you did, JP, is you walked out of that burning building all on your own.
oh,
So
Katie.
really, nothing but admiration for you, Janice Parsons. Nothing but admiration. So,
Well,
and everyone is here, JP, uh, just giving you all the love. So if all of these good wishes are an indicator, um, everyone is so pleased that everything is fine, including me. I don't know what I'd do without you, JP. You're like one of my longest relationships in my life, longer than my marriage. So
well, you're going to have a very long marriage, and you're going to
yeah.
have a very prosperous, long life as the owner of Beach Shop. And it's a blessing to have you as a partner. And someday I'm going to retire and live off my laurels. But until then, I couldn't ask for a better partner and a better community. This community is so amazing. It's just I'm so touched, and I love moderating and checking in with everybody. And um, we really are a very special community. We really are.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm so pleased, JP, that you felt empowered to share that with everyone. Um, and you're great. And, you know, for your
oh,
75th birthday, you look amazing. And
oh,
you
well,
are
thank
amazing.
you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, we're all marching in one direction. I know that, at least once or twice a month, my grandson Eli asks me, "Well, what am I going to do with the cats when I die?" And I said to him, "It's not going to be my problem. It's going to be your problem." But
Well,
you've got to live life. You've got to, do life, because as one gets older, that bucket list, you want to, check those things off. And
yeah, for sure.
I'm just so grateful that something that was just an idea, 42 years ago, has become a community of so many people who care about each other, and it's going to go on. And um, it touches me. It really touches me.
Yeah.
So
Well, we are still going strong. You know, we have our ups, we have our downs, we have our, our lean times and our fat times, but
mhm,
um, we're we're doing it, and we couldn't do it without you folks there,
yeah,
without
absolutely.
our great community here behind the scenes at Bead Shop. So thank you.
Yeah.
So on that note, JP,
Yes.
I am super
Oh,
excited to share your project. Um, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Let me share. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. First,
Yes.
I'm going to blow my nose. I'm just going to do it.
Okay.
I can't help it. So there we go. All right. That's it. All right. That's done. Dose of realness. Put it in the garbage. Moving on. Let me move this piece. And Janice, I had to put my little piece in there as
Oh,
well. Let me
my
move it for you.
birthday is in a couple of days.
It's coming up.
I
I
love,
know. So
love.
I've got your pieces here. Oh, and I wanted to highlight, Drea just put up here. Drea said she wanted to thank our community for their generosity. The MG Walk is nearly at Drea's goal of $3,000. So thank you.
Drea,
That.
can you put the link back? Can you put the
Mhm.
link up for that? I have my envelope and paperwork here, but I want to make sure you get credit. So will you send me the link, but also put the link up for anyone who still wants to give to myasthenia
We'll grab
gravis?
this, and it's here,
Yes.
and
Oh,
it's also in the newsletter. And Barbara, thank you so much.
yeah.
Barbara says she's known bead shop since Palo Alto, 1984. I love
Yes.
it. Thank you,
Yes.
my friend. Thank you.
Yes.
Um, so here's and it's also in the newsletter. Again, folks, we really appreciate that. Drea has, and she's shared it in the newsletter. She'll share it again. She received a really great honor, a really great
Yes.
award. She gave a great speech. So it's pretty amazing. I'm just here pushing paper around, but
No, hardly.
you guys are doing a great job. So let me show you this. I'm going to solo layout this for just a
Yeah.
second. Um, and I've got Janice's pieces here, but I did want to mention, friends, if you did get the Muse mix for the piece that I did on Wednesday, you can see I'm starting to embellish the sides, and I'm learning a lot on this piece. So I just wanted to share. I'm embellishing, and we're going to put a photo of this up as a project so you can see it. I'm going to end it like Janice did with these wraps. So I'm going to show you how to do this wire wrapped, the briolette, and add the chain and stuff. I'm going to do it actually. Oops, sorry, I'm not in the shot here. I'm going to do it actually on this one. But what I wanted to show you when we do these ends, and kind of like what we do with Janice's piece here, where she's doing kind of the infinity stitch, essentially, I am infinity stitching throughout this whole bracelet to put these edges on. That's what I'm doing here. So it gives it a nice extra reinforcement. So I'm super happy about this. We're going to be doing some more great things when we launch the gem duos, but I just wanted to give you all a little bit of a sneak peek. We're going to see this again when I put this closure on. But let's get to your pieces here,
Well,
Janet.
could you just for 1 second
Mm-hmm.
hold it up a little closer so
Sure.
we can I don't understand how you made it look like fabric. How did you do that?
Well,
Out of
fabric.
focus.
Let me
There we go.
let me focus
How
it in.
how did you do that?
Well, fabric is my spirit animal, right? I mean, I love fabric. I've been sewing since I was a very little girl. And I think, Janice, something when you made a piece a while back with the Tyla beads, I think, where we did these little stacks. And you used these little quarter Tylas
Mhm.
that I didn't really give the quarter Tylas much thought, right? I'm like, well, they're so teeny. I don't know if it really
Yeah.
will
Yeah,
work,
but look
but
at
they
that.
really do. And I think also kind of my quilting background, I'm looking at these when I choose these little squares. So I try and make a square every time. I try and think in kind of a quilt block mindset, right?
Oh,
So
it's
we're we're using the texture. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
yeah.
interrupt.
No, I'm just speechless. I
Oh,
literally am. Uh, this is one for the museum. This is
oh, that's very kind. Well, and I feel also that the mixture, and it's a lesson that I think Janice is going to share with you when she does these wraps. If you'll notice, we've got some matte beads,
mhm,
we've got some shiny beads, we've
right.
got this color contrast bead, we've
Mhm,
got a lot of texture here. And also with these little ends, these little drops that Kim Golias was like, put drops on the end, Kate. And I was like, yeah, drops. So, but I think drops every section would not have let these drops shine on their own. So I just did that little picot edge and did drops every other one. So I don't know. It's just mixing the texture, the color, and not getting too crazy. You know, the palette was fairly limited, but you did have a lot to choose from in the tube. But I think it's the same thing that you're going to talk about
mhm.
with us today, Janice. But I know you were saying, "Oh my gosh, that's a big." Let me focus
Yeah,
this. That's a big tube of Miyuki to get through.
yeah,
It's nice to be able to have
exactly.
some choices
Mhm,
and just put in what you feel like. So I'm almost done with this edging, but I'm going to go ahead and finish this off today so you folks can see it when it's my turn to do the demo. But
mm,
let's go ahead. I think that these really match up. You did your piece, and then Drea very kindly, like she's doing for me, she is making a couple of other samples. I'll zoom out on this, but your original, Janice, was with the pearl
mhm,
leather. You
right.
also use some of the super duos. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, but look at how these all stack. Where I guess we're really into this color
Mm,
story right now.
mhm.
And you use some sliders, which I love. So talk a little bit about the inspiration for this piece, Janice.
Well, I don't know how we ever got this far with wrap bracelets without figuring out that they could be adjustable.
Right.
Like wrap bracelets have been around for 10 or 12 years now,
Oh,
at
at least,
least.
Janice. Yeah.
And it's all about, oh, you've got to have a second buttonhole because it's got to fit, someone with a bigger wrist. And it's like, I don't like that second buttonhole. Um, I've always advised people you can cut it off.
Right.
It never has suited me. And somehow, with the addition of this rounded loop end in
Yeah, I've got one right here. I'll show you. Um,
um, I
it's
don't
right
re-
here.
Kate, I just don't really know who thought of it.
Well, Drea and I were talking about the master class.
Okay, okay, there
And
we are.
and here it is right here.
Yeah,
And Bria
yeah,
and I were talking about the master class, and we're like, you know what? Now that we've lost so many of the closures from
yeah,
Tierra Cast, we need a closure. So Drea and I
brilliant.
went looking. We knew that we were going to use this in the closure episode of the Wrap Bracelet Masterclass, but I sent you some, and you were like, "Where has this finding
Yeah,
been?" Because we have it in a few different sizes. We've got like a 10 millimeter, we've got a 5 millimeter, but this, my friends, is a 3 millimeter.
hmm,
So what that does is, you know, that we use 1.5 millimeter um, leather most of the time, it's
hmm,
75% of the time probably, for our wrap bracelets. And two of those
perfectly.
strands
Fits perfectly.
just, yeah, it's like a hand in glove
Yes.
kind of a situation with this.
And the next size up, which we call rounded loop end, which was the first one we got in, which has a
Mhm.
5 millimeter, which fits the 5 millimeter flat
The flat.
leather.
Mhm.
it also works like if you wanted to make a Tahoe with a couple of pieces of 2 millimeter and a 1 millimeter in the middle, so that you have, it's just like, where have we been?
Yeah,
And why
these
didn't we think of
closures.
this sooner?
Yeah, it's great. And just doing this like this, JP, someone, and it might have been, I'm not
Yeah.
sure who it was, who just posted the Travis earring in the bead group where I did that Travis earring. Watch the episode of it, folks, and you'll understand why I named it the Travis earring.
Mhm.
It's pretty esoteric, but this would make, sorry, it's a little out of my focal range. There we go. This would also make a
Great. Yeah.
fantastic earring,
Yeah.
just like this, right? And so Drea is saying if you just use the filters on the page, you can filter by the cord ends so you can find the ones that fit your needs. And there's a question that Dorothy had, and I'm going to show you, Dorothy, how to do this. This is a glue-in. We're not going to crimp it. We're actually going to glue it.
Mm-hmm.
So but it's really sturdy. I'll show you how to do it here.
Yeah, you just have to use the right glue.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
all.
So let's take a look. I want to share my screen with you, Janice, and everyone real quick, and everyone can see where we are on this. Let me go down here. So if we go, there we are. Let me just do this. I'm going to scroll down. If you're watching us live, it's Friday, May 10th, and this is called the Horizon Bracelet. So if you click on the Horizon Bracelet, it goes to all three of these samples. We've got Lighthouse, we've got Marina, and we've got Inlet. Let's click on Janice's Lighthouse, because I know some of you are kind of new and don't always know how the projects work. So you can see there's a really great beauty shot of this here. There's a listing here on the right-hand side, everything that Janice used. But if you want to substitute your own, this is just a list of the generic components. So you can click on the lobster claw clasp, see all of those. The KO, see all the KO. So you can really, like what we like to say is choose your own adventure here. It also has what we call a map, a project map, all laid out so you can take a look, and it has some notes here at the bottom. I know a lot of you, what you do is you take a screenshot of this project map and put it in your bead shop files, whether it's digital or printed out. But this is a great way to do it. And it's like this for each of these projects. The Marina project is here, and then the Inlet project is here. So just a little bit so you can see the navigation on that. You can see how it's been, how the macrame is done there. And that's that. So I just wanted to share that with everyone so you folks could see it.
And the nice thing is that be sure to look at all three of the designs, because we didn't use the same, Dre and I didn't necessarily use the same beads. Mine is also more narrow than hers are by just a little bit. I'm very into skinny wrap bracelets now. I don't know why, but that's just, my thing. So, and you know what would have looked really good on this is we just got in, I don't know, Kate, if you can show Be Still, the heart.
Do I have, I might even have
I have one somewhere, but
here.
um,
It's the
it's got
heart.
charm.
It really is nice. I was
Yeah,
looking at it to use for something.
yeah.
Let me see
We
if
just
I
put
have
it
it.
back in.
But they really, it's that heart. It might be here. If not, I can pull it up.
So
Um,
should I go get mine? I have one.
yeah, and then you can show it when you show
Let me go get
when
it.
you show this. Um, Dria's saying a little bit about the pieces that she made. She said, I kept the same width on the Marina sample, which is this one. And then inlet, she just added whatever she liked. So you can see here on the inlet how it's wide, it goes skinny. And what Janice, I think part of the inspiration of this is we're now carrying so many of these really fantastic. Let me try and
Now I can't
um,
find it.
that's all right. I'll show everyone. And people, you can find it. Dre will put the
Yeah.
link up. It's called Be Still. It's the little heart um charm. Yeah, welcome to my world, Janice. I'm like, oh, I want to show you this. And then
I had it out this morning. Yeah.
but what I love about this metal is look at this one, how Drea created that texture
Mm-hmm.
there, which is great. All um all texture using the same color beads. You could mix your metals for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But see, here's this. This one is just that small little what is it? That's that little
This is called the double spacer.
double spacer, which I love. Myra, I think you were the one who put the earring up. I think you were the one who shared your earring, if I'm not mistaken. And I want to show you also, Janice used that new cube bead that we're going to have for like a hot minute.
Yeah.
Um, and then when it's gone, it's gone. But look at how great that looks. Janice also used some of the Super Duo symbol components in there. And you could do the same thing with the Tyla components in a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
I am just over these Tyla components.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
square just it's just making me crazy. I love it so much. But you can really study the project maps. You can see Janice used sliders here. This is the home run slider. This is it really goes well with this glue in component here. This is the little cog
Oh, I
spacer,
love the cogs.
right? This is that little tiny, is that the rice one?
Mm-hmm.
That you use.
Yep.
So nice. I love all of these. We've got some new ones. Yeah, there's that little rice. We've got some new metal strands coming. I'll give you folks a sneak peek while we're looking at this, and then Janice, you can get ready
Mm-hmm.
to do your thing. Let me zoom out, zoom back in. Um, what while I find those other ones, JP, what do
Mm-hmm.
you think is your number one piece of advice working with all of these? Talk about a little bit about the thread you used, about the needle you used, and the leather size that we use here.
Oh, what is my best advice? Um, I know this is going to sound corny, but have fun. It is so easy to make one of these. Even if you've never made a wrap bracelet, um, you can go for it. Kate, will you show where it's very near the copper swivel clasp?
Mm-hmm.
There's three of those symbols.
Yeah,
And what I did, it's the Veridi one that we
this
sell
one.
by the bag. And one, go a little further, keep going. It's closer to the compass. Um, I have a pattern
Oh
of
yeah, I
three of
see it.
them. And that's not another bead. That is just the Veridi turned upside down.
Right. So here's
It
this like
around,
this.
you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can make use of it does there is like the holes are more on one side than the other, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
so what? Um I would I guess that my best advice is that with your thread, you, I cut like 2 yards of thread
Mm-hmm.
and I use it double. And then you'll see that where I have the slider or the metal bead, the cube, I have stopped and started. So for those of you who are beginners, you don't need to cut 5 yards of thread to get through the whole um, bracelet. It's way too much thread. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't, I never wax my thread, but some people do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I never got in the habit. But if you will cut off like 2 yards, you'll find, and then you use it double, you'll find that it's easy to stop, slide, you're going to want to cut the needle off, put a knot in, glue it, and then slide a slider over it, and you
Over
will
it
be,
to mask it. Right. Right.
yeah, yeah,
So let me ask you this,
yeah,
Janice. When you were making these sections, like this
hmm
section here, this is
hmm
all the same bead.
yeah,
Here, what Drea did was she used the shadow and then that
right,
little double spacer. And here, Drea just went hog wild and
right.
just used whatever. When you prepped all of your strands that you used, did you put all of the different metals in their own little
Yes,
triangle so that
yes,
you had kind of a palette to choose from, right? Is
yes,
that right?
yes. In fact, I have it. I will show everyone when it's time. I'll show you how I set up the board with the different products in it. But yes,
Okay.
Um, um, I did separate them, and I also, if I was going to make a wider bracelet and I needed like 5 or 6 of little rice all in a row, I more
Mhm.
than likely would have taken it off the strand
Mhm.
in my hand the way you
Put it
sometimes
through.
show between your
Right.
fingers, and
Mhm.
then put it on that way.
Mhm.
Um,
What
some of the little
Drea's
beads stick together, so you
right. You
have
just
to,
use them
yeah,
double.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just use them double. Drea says here, she said she has a few bits of patterning, but it's mostly just craziness. I mixed the beads up in a pile on her tray and she just went for it. That's awesome.
Mm,
So, Janice, I'll add, why don't we look at your pieces here?
okay.
Uh, I'm going to put your board on highlight, and
Okay.
why don't you, and I'll get everything ready here. You let me know if and when I can do some gluing, or you tell me what you need
Yeah.
to do.
Okay. So I want to show everyone how all the different ingredients and then sort of the why of them. Um, the especially something like, the chain over here. Here is the smooth sailing in the antique silver and then in the shiny silver. And you can mix your silver wire and your swivel clasp. You could do it in shiny, or you could do it in the antique silver. This is the kind of thing where when you're mixing your metals, you're really mixing your metals, and
Hmm.
not get too you know, obsessed with it's not the right shade. Like if you want to use matte gold and shiny gold together, they're going to look terrific. If
Hmm.
we're, and I also wanted to share because um, Beadsmith right now is out of, or they were out of the white KO. And I wanted to show you that this one is ivory and this one is white.
Hmm. They're very close.
They're really, really close. It's very hard to tell the difference. So
Hmm.
if you are doing in the matte, the metallic, not the matte metallic, but the metallic white leather, you could use ivory just as
Hmm.
easily.
And Janice, we have a bunch of Sharon's watching. Hello, my friend. She's
Hi,
asking
Sharon.
about some of the pieces in silver. All of these strands that we carry, we're going to continue to carry. So
Yes.
if you see a run on something and something is sold out, just add yourself to the notification list. We have these imported for us. So there's always kind of a limited supply, but at least there is a steady supply. So don't worry. You'll see them back in. And I know we've got some that should be coming back in pretty quickly, I think. So just go ahead, put yourself on the notification, and you'll get that email as soon as they're back in stock. We also have some others that we're going to be adding probably a little bit later this year. So we just love this metal. I don't know how we've done without it.
I don't know either. I'm also, oh, here's my tweezer. I want to point with my tweezer. Yeah, these beads are just wonderful. They're great spacers.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to put, like this, I don't know. I guess it's me that has to do the.
Yeah, you need to just zoom down a little bit. Yeah, there you go, JP.
I'm not moderating now. I'm.
You're the talent. You're the talent.
I guess. How do you focus, Kate?
Yeah, no, it's focused. It's fine. What I would do, JP, is I would lift your camera a little bit.
Okay.
And I would lift the triangle up to the camera just a bit.
Oh, that's very clever.
That's what I would do.
See, everybody, that's why she gets paid the big bucks.
Well, let's not go crazy, but yes.
There. Okay. So that's in focus to me.
Yeah, it is. Looks good.
Okay. So anyway, these are I love these little cogs, but these can be used as spacers, and we have them in the brass and the copper. But I just wanted to show you what the board looks like. I used a size 10 English beading needle. And I want to tell you all that we also have the 10s and the 12s in a package of 25. So if you're like me, you'll see with this one, you see my needle gets sort of bent, but I don't get rid of it. It's still good. And you have to be careful with cats. They're so hard to find these needles on the floor. And then let's see, I also love the, where am I? The 11-aught metal seed bead. I know they're a bit pricey, but that's because they have sterling on them.
Yeah, and then, I love them. I do love them.
Yeah, wow. I do too. I used the lemon quartz bracelet because it reminded me of a lighthouse and the light. But you could use any of the bracelets, the colors, whatever matches. I think, Drea, you could have used that copper turquoise on.
Oh, that would be pretty too.
Would that have been pretty? Yeah. So, and then this is the actual size of the swivel we used, which is the small swivel. But I didn't have the small swivel to show you now in the silver, so I have the large swivel here. And the nice thing about it is the swivel it swivels here so that your bracelet will always lay flat, or your necklace. So
right, it'll lay exactly right. Yeah.
And then I also brought over the wire. I wanted to show you the 20. This is the 26 in the silver. This is, and then I got the non-tarnish titanium, and they do differ a little bit. You see, one's sort of warmer than the other. This would have to do with when I got them in my studio, and these two could have tarnished slightly. This is why Pro Polish pads to just sort of brighten it up. But this is a 24, a 26, and a 28. I wouldn't use the 28 with the bracelet. but either the 26 or the 24 will fit through.
Yeah, it'll fit through no problem.
Yeah, so this is the 26 with the garnet. And let me see if the 24 will fit. Sometimes they don't fit. So,
Yeah,
um,
and it's just you just have to check it. I try and use the wire that's the largest gauge, but without endangering
yes,
the tip of the briolette.
yes. You don't
Because
want to
remember
put any
the
pressure
wire
on
is
it.
yeah, the wire
Let's see if
is
I
unyielding.
can grab this. Now this is the 24, and this looks too big for the garnet. No, it fits.
Yeah. The garnet is pretty easy to drill.
Yeah.
So, that's good.
I probably, for to be on the safe side, let me see if I can. There we go. I probably would use the 26 gauge with this, um, but it's up to you. And you could leave. You can leave off the briolette. Um, possibly if you're selling your bracelets, I don't know that I would recommend the briolette at the end of a bracelet for resale. People are going to, you don't know if someone's going to wear it every day, knock it on a counter. These are strong, but they're not invincible. you
Mhm.
know um, Against a marble countertop, if it got whacked, it could probably crack. So you might want to put something like maybe a pearl would be fine, and or a glass bead or another metal bead. So,
Mhm.
but if it's for yourself or for a friend, and they're strong enough. So, okay, so I've showed everyone the materials, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So
Okay.
what do you wanna you're gonna talk to people about how you've started and stuff, right?
Yeah,
Is that what's okay, perfect.
yeah. Now I have another board.
All
So
right.
this is my other board, and this is my advice. Kate, you were asking me if I had any advice for
Mhm.
people, what would it be? Get yourself a little post-it note and say,
Mhm.
new beads this side only. Whatever side you put your beads on with infinity stitch, that's the one thing you want to remember, because the biggest mistake beginners make, especially with things like two-hole beads, super duos, or tiles, is they put the super duo on, they go through the one hole, and then they come back through the second hole, and then they can't understand why the bead doesn't lay flat. You want
Mhm.
to go through the same hole, back through the same hole, down, you're going through even with the two hole, down through the second one back. But this is how you want to remind yourself. Um, and it never gets old to me to remember what side my bread is buttered on.
Mhm.
So I want to show everyone the way I put this on the board. Let me come up a little bit.
Yeah, that's great.
So I found the halfway point in my leather. And I know we always say in measuring leather is to just put your arm out from your nose. Well, when I do that, my arm is not actually 36 inches. From my nose to the tip of my fingers is 33 inches. And so if I tell you to measure 36 inches, I want you to use a yardstick or a tape measure, because if you use that, you probably can get away, if you have an average size wrist, with cutting 2.5 yards for a 5 wrap bracelet. If you're not sure or you have a larger wrist, you want to cut 3 yards. But that should be enough. I know, Kate, sometimes you say 4 yards. Um, but I have found 3 yards. We should probably have a contest sometime.
To see how long. Yeah, I don't know. I think From back when we were carrying the leather in 4-yard bundles, that
Yes.
was just kind of my default. So I
Mhm.
haven't really ventured because sometimes I also want to tie knots, you
Well,
know.
what you were doing, let me remind everyone, what you were doing is you were also um, doing that braiding, and that's why
Right, the
you need it.
braiding or
The
tying,
braiding,
yeah,
yeah,
the knot tying and stuff like that because I don't, if I haven't planned and
yeah,
then I just start to tie some knots or do some
right.
macrame, it eats up that leather pretty
Can
quickly.
can you show me again, please, for just a second?
Sure,
Show me
sure,
my.
sure.
I want to show everyone about the measuring.
There you
Okay,
go.
so this is me with my arm stretched out as far as it'll go, right? And now and I want you to do this too. Um, and that on my tape measure goes to, oh, it's 28. So my arms have gotten shorter. Um, so what I want you to do is I want you to cut, I'm going to cut, there is 1 yard because I wanted to show you how you figure out how many wraps you're going to make. So that is 1 yard, and you could just, if you want 2 yards, you just have that halfway point. We always want to save time. So here's your halfway point. So then you measure that again, and now I have 2 yards. I've
Mhm.
already cut this piece. I have 2 yards. So I hold this on my wrist, and I just hold it down, and then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's just a little. I have I have like just a little short end. So if
Mhm.
I had cut 3 yards, I'd have more than enough. But this is what I want you to do before you cut it. You measure off a piece, keep it attached to your regular, and then just wrap it around your hand loosely. And it gives you an idea of how many wraps. Now, with the the cute little ends we have and the adjustable chain, you have a little room to be flexible.
Yeah, literally.
So yeah, literally, so you can make it a little more adjustable. But I wanted to show you that's literally how I measure. And then, okay, so we can go back, Kate.
Okay,
Um,
there we go.
okay, so
So you've started, Janice, you're using KO and you're going to do
using
the infinity
KO,
stitch.
I'm using a double. I cut 2 yards of, and you'll tell me if I'm not focused, right?
Yep, yep, you look good.
Okay. So I double it over, and I like to the best of my ability, keep my leather from my clampers.
Yeah, you
So,
really set it up much
yeah,
more
and the way I
concisely.
set it up is that I I find the halfway point, and then I make a loop. So this is separate.
Mhm.
And then all I do, let me show you, is I put my clamper on the inside of this,
Mhm.
and then it attaches. And this isn't going to go anywhere because this
Right.
clamper is really
It's really
attached.
on there. Yeah, that's I should be a little more conscientious. Um
Well, I took your twine. Remember, I took it?
I know, but I had twine, but I used it for the holiday roast, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some more.
Well, I'll bring you some along with clock batteries when I see you in August.
Perfect. Well, I did finally get
Oh,
some
you
change.
did?
I
Oh,
do. I think it's my clock. I changed the batteries. I think the clock needs to be changed, but
okay. Then
whatever.
that can,
I'm time is but a construct, JP.
that's true. So then on this end, I really did the same thing. I knotted, and then I put a loop of thread. I put the clamper there, and then I knotted a square knot a square knot on that side. Can you see
Mm-hmm.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not great at this. But anyway, that's how I
Great.
set the board up. I have it going all the way around for the 5-wrap bracelet. It has to go around and once. If you don't have a design, a deep dish design tray, you can use pretty much anything. You could use a shoebox. You can use, I don't know, I wouldn't use an egg carton, but you can use your macrame board. That will work.
Mm-hmm.
If I use a macrame board, then I usually will take like a spool of Ceylon and put it underneath so it pulls the whole thing up from the macrame board so I'm able to work underneath. But
Kind
this
of
is,
tightens it up. Yeah.
yeah, but this is an easy way to go. So I started, and I know we don't have like the long hour and a half for a whole project, but I am going to, when we're all said and done, we're going to glue the end on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started wherever I felt like it, a bit from the end
Hmm.
with the macrame. And um,
Oh, because afterwards, then Janice, you'll cut the loop
yeah,
and just glue it in, right?
yes, I just want to, I don't know why I'm not
No, it's fine.
there.
I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the way I do that, I want to show you how I start that. I'm going to show you. So I have I guess I'll start it over here because then we can do a little work and then I'll show you how to end it. But um, I am right-handed and I want to start my beads. I always want to start my beads on my left side. So when I start with the macrame, and let me just sidebar for a second, you you don't need the macrame to glue on the end. So if you have just a bracelet you want to do and you don't want a macrame, but you want to do like leather with some beads on each strand or something, you don't need the macrame in order to glue on
To
this
hold
little
it
crest.
together, right, to glue.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason we're macrameing is because we're going to do infinity stitch.
Mm-hmm.
We need to secure our KO to the board, to the leather. So when I do this, I will start, okay, so we can see it. So I will start with my needle on my right side. I come down to the end, not all the way to the end because I need, let me get them even. What I really hate doing is I hate, what's the word? I hate bringing the needle back and forth when I'm macrameing at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
You want to pass it through.
yeah, I want to pass through the other end. So
Mm-hmm.
my needle is on my right side. So I start with, I know you start with a Q, I start with a P,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to go, I'm going to bring that through, and I brought through the side, that's the two tails. Then I make the Q, and I bring through the two pieces of KO. And
That's a really great way to do it.
yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, I haven't brought the needle through. The needle
Right.
is just, it, all I'm doing is bringing the thread that the needle's on through.
Mm-hmm.
I want to just make sure, wait a second. I'm just bringing the thread through, but the needle doesn't have to pass through. Don't ask me the physics of that, why that doesn't happen, but it just doesn't.
Well, it's because you're tying the tail, not with the needle side, but with the tail side.
Is that
Um,
why?
yeah, and it makes sense. I showed that also in the master class. I always have a tendency though to get it backwards because my spatial
Oh,
relationship
see,
in
I
my
got it
left and
wrong.
right.
Yeah, I got
Um,
it wrong that time. So
yeah.
I'm going to stop for a second, and I see that I have the little dimple or the little thread on this side. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go like this
You
on
know
the left
that's your
side.
loop
I know
side.
that's the side
Mm-hmm.
I need to work on. And then, so you do this for like maybe 4 complete knots.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need any glue for this. Um, you could if you want to, but you don't you don't need it. And so um, what I want to show you now, which I would be doing later. So that's about, I don't know what that doohickster is.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's just a loose thread that I from the beginning. I'm not going to bother with that now.
Mm-mm.
But I want to show you while I'm here, and I think I can get maybe a little closer if I can focus.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
focused, JP.
So
Yeah.
what I want to do is I want to show you before I move on, I what you do with these ends, and this is what Allie Morey does. And
Yeah, this is very clever. This like blew my mind.
she threads another needle, and then all she does, and if you want to use a little tiny bit of GS hypo cement, you could, but she just goes up through the macrame one thread at a time, and
It's
then she
just
cuts
so
off.
clever.
Yeah, so you can do this. You can use your thread snips, or you can use your flush cutters, and then
And
you
the
get
thing
rid of.
about that is also your macrame looks so neat. There's
Yes.
no little nubs, there's no little glue
Nope.
like nubs or anything, and it's nice and tight. Really
Yes.
smart.
It's the only way I work now. I
Mhm.
don't eat. I rarely need a thread burner,
Mhm.
but these cutters are suddenly very dull.
Mm.
I have to sharpen them. But what I'm doing now is I'm threading a needle for the other piece
Mhm.
that I'm going to bring up if I can. I don't really need to do this, do I? Everyone saw it
Yeah,
once.
everyone saw it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
But I get you. I'm the same way. I'm just going to get it through.
okay. Well, what I'm doing is if you didn't want to do this now, what I do is I know it's just silly, but I tape it up and leave it up there, um, to finish for another time.
Mhm.
So that's what I do with it. And with this, you want to land so that whatever side you're doing, your needle comes out on the side you want to add your first bead.
Right. So in your case, you want
Yeah,
it to end
it's
up on
I
the
want it.
left-hand
Yes,
side.
I want it on this side.
Mhm.
And I know you all know how to do this, except for maybe one or two of you out there. So I'm going to show you again how I start. So I go through. I have one bead on. I always start with uh, a small bead, or with a super duo. Super duos are like the perfect bead because they are
Yeah.
so nice and slim at the start, and then you want to go back through. So let me just go through this again. So I came over, then I go under, then I come over, and can anyone guess what comes next? Under.
Under. Yes.
So it's over, under, over, under. That's it. That's the whole thing. And this first bead, and then I have to go under. And this first bead, we like to reinforce. So when you're doing a ladder bracelet, if you come along a bead and it seems to be popping out. Why isn't it laying down? It's because you didn't do the over under. Maybe you came back, and I have done this myself. So there's no pointing fingers here. It's just go back and look at your thread passes, and you're more than likely to see that you didn't come under, but you came over and went through, or you didn't go over and under. So
Mhm.
I like to reinforce this first one um, one more time, but I don't need to do it today. So then I graduate, and here Kate was asking about how do I do my beads. I'll do them like each one has its own triangle or area in the on the velvet pad, or on a paper towel. Paper towels work great too. Um, if you don't feel like getting a velvet pad, or even what is that stuff that
Oh, that
not
Velux.
is it felt? Is
Yeah, the
felt
felt,
working
or you
great?
could use the Velux that has like the little low pile.
Yeah, what did we use when we were kids? Those squares.
Oh, we just use felt
Felt.
sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what I do is I just build. I just want to hold, because I tension is important. So I
Hmm.
put my thumb on top, get your tweezers and all your tools out of the way. You don't want anything in your way. Make sure that on this side that your thread isn't twisted, that you don't have a long loop. Bring your thread under and over, and then start another one. Okay, that's it, Kate.
That's that, JP.
That's it. What's um, I want to talk about how far you go. So this is a little threer. I'm going to use the little threer now. You can't see me. Here we go.
And then I'll talk about the like what you're using for, like, you did use some home runs for transitions,
Yes,
but
I
you
did.
also don't need to do any transitioning. It can just be one long, I think Drea just did hers in one long pass.
Yeah, she did. And the way you, I'm talking for her, and I shouldn't. Drea, do you want to share with us? Did you add a thread when you needed to and go back? Is that what you did? How did you?
That would be my guess. I'll see what I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Okay. Um,
But the
I,
transitional spaces are a great place to add your thread, but you can just weave it in and weave it out, um, where you need to.
yeah. So this is now two of the uh, what do we call them? We call them double spacer. I think of them as little barrels. They're
Mm-hmm.
little tiny barrels. What does she say? I just added thread when needed. If you look at the bracelets, can you likely find where the threads are thicker on the edges? Um, there's also a way of, yes, you'll probably see it, but you can also you can end your thread by not going around the leather. Um, but I guess you will eventually see a little more of the thread.
Yeah, and the KO is so thin, but you can just weave it in and out of the beads. But also, it feels like everyone is kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
just kind of go with the flow of the bracelet, right? I
Mhm.
don't think there's any wrong answer there.
Um, So when you do bead weaving, this is very similar like to bead weaving when you add and drop a thread. Um,
Exactly.
and what I can do, Kate, is do a bit more of this while you show the wire wrapping of the briolet.
Sure, I can do that now. And
And
I'm
then we can
also
come back and I can
coincidentally,
show this.
Janice,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I I am weaving. I'll put mine on here.
Yeah, I knew
I'm
you'd be like
I'm I'm
10
finishing
hours
up
ahead of me. Oh, yeah.
um
Show us that. Show us that.
and I'm weaving this back in. So it's the same thing. Let me get this over here. Let's just say that this was the wrap bracelet. I've finished my edging here and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just weaving this thread. I had a lot of extra thread. So I'm just weaving it back down the interior of the bracelet
Right.
just to reinforce it. I find what I'm finding with this, and I think it's also true with the metal wrap that you're making, is that the metal beads are slightly heavier than usual.
Mm.
Okay, because they're metal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the piece is a little bit heavier. So a little extra reinforcement, like what you're doing with the infinity stitch, you're actually using a doubled over thread, but I did this stitching all with single thread. I also might try out for this particular one, and you could certainly try it with that laddering, is to use Fireline.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Fireline would give this some good structure. But see,
Mm-hmm.
this is exactly what Janice is talking about weaving it back through. You don't go around the edges, you just go through the beads and walk this up to continue this on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that briolet wire wrapping.
Okay. Thank you.
So let me just give
You're
myself.
so much better at that than I am.
Oh, no, it's no
Oh, it's
problem.
really true.
Let
Uh,
me.
see, everyone, here's a big difference. So you're talking about Kate and I, who we have years and years of beading experience between us. And Kate did the bracelet, this gorgeous bracelet, my birthday bracelet. And did you hear that? This is my birthday bracelet. Um,
I did. I did.
um, but Kate did it with single thread.
Hmm.
And I have to tell everyone out there, I, even with a seed bead, bead weaving, I do not use KO single.
Hmm.
Even when I'm doing peyote, I just, I like my thread double. I don't know. I just,
Yeah.
there, that's just the way I am. And so you, you have to do you. You have to find the right answer for what's going to work for you. And um, as long as I can get the thread with the needle through the beads, I will use my thread double.
Well,
Um,
and I also knew, Janice, with this, this bracelet, everything has gone through. There are probably at least 4 passes of thread through
yeah,
this
yeah,
because of
no, I know.
the picot edge
Yep.
for this. So, and again, it's just my first pass on this. So, I'm going to get my piece here. I'm going to go to my very organized chain, which I'm very excited about. And I'm going to use, you could also use the Rustico on this. So I'm going to
Yeah.
use just a little section of Rustico on this. And then we'll wire wrap the briolet to this. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to use 6. I'm going to clip this.
Can you
Clip,
measure that for us, Kate? How
sure,
long is that?
is the 6 little,
Yeah. Yeah.
I bet it's about an inch. Let me measure. My tape measure is just out of reach. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, it's about an inch, Janice.
Okay.
About an inch of chain. You could make it a little bit longer too. It just depends. But I'm using the jump rings that are a little bit bigger, the 6 mil, because they kind of match the size of them. So I'm gonna open that, and this would be the same as if I were using this closure. So I'm gonna slide on my Rustico. Now, like we were saying, you could use a charm, but we're going to use a brio. Drea used that brown lip shell, which was beautiful. Janice used some of the regular stone briolets. I looked through what I had, and I had this was, I don't know if we have any more of these any longer, but this is what I have to work with. It's the abalone shell that I think looks just perfect with this. So you can see here, I still have that end to do the picots, but it's no trouble doing that. So I'm going to check the wire size for this. I've got 22 gauge here. 22 may work okay with it, but I may have to go down to 24. So let's just check it. And I'm going to slide this on. And it's fine, but see how the brio doesn't really move as nicely as I want it. So I'm going to reject the 22, and I'm going to go to the 24. Drea says we're out of the abalone, but we do have the mother of pearl and the brown lip. The mother of pearl would also look beautiful on this. Whatever. Or, this is just what I had, so that's what I'm using. So let's put this through.
And we have the skill builder on.
We do.
Wire rapid briolets.
And see how this really moves. That's what we want, this type of movement. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to bend this long wire up, this short wire up, so it makes like a little hat or a little house over the top of the briolet right there. And again, we want it to be loose. We don't want it to be so visually loose that there's a whole lot of space there, but remember the wire is unyielding, so we don't want it to crack the briolet. So now I have my my chain nose plier, and I came in and I crimped it flat to pull these two wires so they're parallel to one another. Okay. Now I'm going to, and this is also on the skill builder, but once you get to this point, now you're ready to just wire wrap. Okay, so I'm going to hold this with the tip of my chain nose, and I'm going to bend at a right angle, like so. So see how my short wire's coming out, my long wire is here. Now we're going to wire wrap. So let me get my round nose. Now I was reading my buddy Lucy Walker, who runs a metalsmithing school, the Jewelry Academy. She just wrote this blog on why she hates round nose pliers. And the reason she hates round nose pliers is because people grip their round nose too tightly and mark their wire. So I am in agreement with you there, Lucy. She actually likes the one that has the round nose on top and the flat one on the bottom. I'm still a round nose plier kind of a gal, but I did want to reiterate that these aren't grippers. If you grip with this plier, you are going to mark your wire. These are just simply mandrels on a handle to help you form your wire. So see how I formed that wire right around so it gives me that nice round loop. I'm going to put it on the bottom jaw, not gripping so it's so tight that it makes a dent, but just so that it holds it. And then I bring my wire around, roll that loop. So see how I've got that nice round loop there. Okay. Now, what do I need to do? I need to add it to my chain. I could add it with a jump ring, but I want this to be an all-inclusive loop. I don't want any opening here. So I'm just going to open that loop, close it up, and see how I've connected it to the chain there. Now, the work of my round nose pliers is done. That work is done. I put everything aside. I can use, we've got these really fantastic from Xuron, these 90-degree chain nose, bent chain nose. And see how those 90-degree chain nose, they're like a little set of fingers that just get in there and they hold everything. Your regular bent chain nose are usually bent at about a 45-degree angle. These are bent at a 90. And look at now how nicely I can hold all of this. Now I come in and I'm just going to wrap. I'm holding this, like they say, hold a baby chick firmly, but not so much that you're going to strangle the baby chick and it'll die, right? You just want to hold this plier lightly with your hand, and I come in and I wrap. Yeah, and we carry these 90-degree on Bead Shop. They're made by Xuron. They're an American-made plier. They are really one of my favorites. It's a 90-degree. And I used them for so long, and we finally, I think this past year, finally got them in. And I'm coming in with my cutter that has a little wire retainer. So when I cut it, it can grab onto that wire, though I did it with the very tip, so it wasn't actually hitting the retainer. But you clip, and you just want to make sure that that wire doesn't fly up into your face. Let me do this one a little bit further so you can see. See here how I clip it and the wire stays in my cutter like that. Now, these 90-degree are also perfect for just coming in and dipping that little end. Can you feel the passion in my voice about this plier? See, and that just, there's no burr, there's nothing. There's nothing but smooth sailing, smooth wire, and that's it. So now, just like you did, JP, with this other end, whoops, my needle is still on here. Let me get a little closer to my eyes so I can take that out. There we go. You can open this up, and this will be adjustable. And the beauty of this lobster claw is that it also is a swivel, so it sits perfectly on your wrist every time. So it's just the same as if you were using that closure there.
I want to ask something, Kate.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you've done this beautiful wire wrap,
Mm-hmm.
what does someone do if they're in the middle of the wrap and they don't like it, and then they start to try and take the wire out of the briolet?
That's a great question. So let me do this because I was going to actually make a longer piece of chain on Dria's so it would fit to wrap. So
Okay.
I'm gonna cut Dria's off here.
Okay.
No offense, Drea. So if you're cutting off a brio, and I'm gonna get rid of this, I was kind of trying to hack this, and it looks like a hack. It's not pretty. Let me take that off. So let's say that I'm going to add a fresh piece of wire or a fresh piece of chain. This brio
more
right here. What Drea says, rude. That's funny. What I want to do here is I'm actually going to get my maxi shear here, and I'm going to slide it along the side of the brio, and I'm going to clip it right there. Okay. I want to clip it where it's straight, not where it's bent, so that when I pull the wire out, see how I pull that away? I'm going to gently pull the wire out, and you have to really be careful. There's still a little piece of wire here that's straight, so I'm going to kind of try and straighten it out. There we go. I'm going to reclip. You have to be really very careful because this can spell disaster. There it goes. So see how that wire is nice and straight, right? And it's gone through. I know I'm totally vandalizing Drea's piece, totally, but it's in my possession
so many
now.
times pulled the wire into the briolet.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's how. And people
awful.
have heard me tell this story before. I've done this. I was behind the counter at the bead shop. A lady brought a piece in to be fixed, to be rewire wrapped or whatever. And I cut the wire, and I got the wire caught in the pearl, and it was done. It was done for.
Yeah.
So we had to fix that. So so you really need, unless you are like, oh, it's okay, I'm gonna, I'll add something else or do something else, or if you wreck the piece. But you really want to be very careful. Janice, what's the name of this chain that we used here?
Smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Okay. Here it is. Because I have it all in alphabetical order, but I couldn't find it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave Drea's piece of chain here, and I'm going to use a tiny jump ring to connect. JP, what else would you like to show while I'm doing this?
What I could show is how you graduate down and add the slider with.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let me just show you this before I move the camera. These are the new colors, the two-tone.
Oh, I know.
In the saucer, the 5 mil and the 3 mil. These are coming soon. So these would just look terrific in a wrap. Those are.
I'd love a whole wrap of just that little.
Yeah, just those. Yeah, look at how beautiful. And they're the natural brass, and they've been antiqued and polished. These were called the two-tone.
Yeah.
Let me go back to you, Janice, and then I'll finish this up.
Okay. So I am at a point where I let me show you this. So I did a little bit with some of the beads, and then I want to, how long this is, I want to knot this off. I don't have enough thread, and so I want to start a new section. So I have my needle and thread here. Here's the needle. And what I'm going to do now is I'm cutting the thread, I guess maybe about 6 or 7 inches, something like that. And I'm cutting the needle off. And I'm separating the threads. And I'm going to just put in a square knot. So just right over left. And left over right. And if you want to be extra careful, you can go around it a couple of times, or once, let's say, and then do it again, right over left and left over right. Okay. And this I probably would put a drop of, you could use just the zap glue, really, because I don't think for most projects, I hate to see people have so much glue, but if you had GS Hypo, you could put a little bit there.
Mhm.
Then I'm going to,
Janice, would you center that a little bit more in your camera?
oh, sure,
There
sure.
you go. Perfect.
Also very bright here. Um, Maybe I'm going to turn one of these off. It's gotten to be,
No, it looks good. It
it
looks good.
does?
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't change the lighting. I
Okay,
think it's fine.
okay. So um, I'm going to just thread. Let me bring this up. I'm going to thread this thread through here, I think. You know, every time I do this maybe a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
But there I go. I'm gonna bring these through. And I have to start another thread now. So I'm going to take a new thread, the length I want. Let's say it's, it's going to be 2 yards. I've just got a little shorter piece here. And I want to start again, just like I did at the beginning. I have the needle on this side, on my right side, and I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to do my macrame again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it.
Very nice.
Let's pull this down. And again, you could tape this down so that it's sort of like out of your way. Wait, I've got the needle on the wrong side. Let me just start this again. And I'm going to tape it down like I want to tape it down, because that's what I should have done.
Mm-hmm.
And the frosted tape is fine for our leather. You can use it. I can't testify to all leather that you buy that it won't take the paint off. So test
Yeah,
a little
just be
piece.
careful.
Test a little piece of the leather you have. Okay, so I have my needle on my right side, and I'm going to do my P and then my Q, and I'm going right over the thread.
And this is with your new threads.
This is with my new threads, yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you establish your new thread. And this is why I use a slider to cover it.
Yeah, those sliders, those home run sliders really
Aren't
look
they
great.
great?
Mm-hmm.
So both these ends, so now I have my new thread, but I want my needle to be on this side, the other side. So I'm just going to do one more half hit, one more half macrame to get
Mm-hmm.
me on this side, so that my needle is now ready to go back and forth and start a new section. Before I start it, I'm going to bring this up. Well, before I do that, I'm going to ask you to go through your macrame with your extra needle, bring it up through and cut it. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you're done with that, you bring your needle, your needle's going to go through your slider. And these threads, you could bring up through it, or you could really just cut them. This is going to sit here like this, and then I'm going to start my next section. These, though, I want you to put back through so that going this way, because these are the threads from in here, and you want to make sure that they're really secure. But the
Mm-hmm.
macrame is, pretty darn secure. So you could, if you wanted, you could put just a little bit of glue there, and then put your threads back up and through. But this is how you start your next section. What's
Very, very nice.
Yeah, simple, easy peasy.
I'm almost done here. Bear with me
Yeah.
here just a
Okay.
second. I think
Uh,
it looks really great. And I like how you showed the different colors of thread. You used like that ivory
yeah.
instead of the white.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank
you
you.
know, just decide, because sometimes I like to have the thread enhance rather than match, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So it just depends on
Let's see
what
if
works for
my
you.
other. I don't want to lose a needle here with the cats. Uh,
Yes.
oh, here. Okay, so while I'm waiting for you, Kate, I'm going to
Yeah,
take
I'm
this
almost
thread and I'm going to show everyone how I bring it back up. Um,
the Xuron 90-degree pliers, they should be in our tools section. We can find the link for you. Yeah, this looks great. So here, I'm going to add this in.
Sometimes if your macrame is tight, you don't have to go through absolutely the whole thing. You can come out part of the way and then
Mm-hmm.
use your pliers to pull your needle lip up. This works with Ceylon too, but I
Mm-hmm.
would use a big eye needle. You
Mm-hmm.
need a needle, and I would use a big eye needle.
Yeah, the big eye works really nicely.
Yeah.
So here's
You
that
have to do
lineup.
one at a time. You have to do one thread at a time.
Yeah, it's one at a time. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's hard to get both of them up.
Yeah.
So here we've got all three,
Let's see.
and I think it's a nice looking stack.
Oh, wow. Yes. Look at you.
Very pretty. I did the large swivel, and the large swivel's a little too big. I'm going to put the small
Yes.
swivel on it.
Don't you agree? It's
Yeah,
just a little,
a little too big for this.
it would work on a bracelet that was wider, but for
Hmm.
this,
I think the small swivel's the
yeah.
way to go.
Yeah.
But you can see that there. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot
Oh
of
my
fun.
goodness. Arm candy.
I know, I love it. I love a stack.
Mm-hmm.
So, Janice, any final words, or if anybody has any final questions they'd like to ask, now is the time to do it.
Yes. Anyone? Anyone?
And let me show these last ones here underneath. So you can go to the project pages. This is called the Horizon Bracelet. You can
Mm-hmm.
go to the project pages and take a look at everything. We made these in sort of a monochromatic-ish. I mean, here's, Janice used that pearl, or you used the pearl.
Yeah, the
This is the
pearl.
natural leather, and then this might be the sea foam that Drea used for this, but we also have kind of
Use seafoam.
the sea foam. And this is 1 millimeter that you used here, JP, right?
No, 1.5.
Oh, you used 1.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what fits so perfectly in
Okay.
that little
Oh, of course, in the closure. Of course, I
yeah.
wasn't thinking 1.5. I think maybe because this looks so slim, I was just
Mhm.
thinking of that for the moment. All right. Well, I'm going to take out your demo unless you need to
No,
show
no.
anything there. All right. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take this out. All right. Well, as Cheryl is saying, another epic episode for sure. for sure. It's really a great project, JP. It's a wonderful one for your birthday project. It's very
I
fun.
had
It
so
is
much
a
fun.
great show. And then Jane is asking, how did we get to the end in glue? Essentially, JP, you just ended, you did that macrame like you did there, and you cut it.
You come down, you do the end. Oh, you mean on the beginning? How do you get
No,
to the end and glue?
well, on the end or at the beginning.
Yeah,
Where's that little piece
yeah.
of leather?
So let's show it. This is crazy. The one thing we haven't shown.
I'll
Uh,
put yours back up.
yeah, yeah, please.
But it is the same on both sides, but
It's
Janice will show
yes,
that.
it's basically the same thing. And I'm going to cut the leather off.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jane. And now
Mm-hmm.
I do want you to remember to put these up and through each
Mm-hmm.
and then cut it. But I'm going to basically just get them out of the way now. And then we've done this where Michelle has talked in Kumihimo about how deep the opening is.
Mm-hmm.
And she likes to cut her toothpick. Yeah, I could cut the toothpick, but I don't always. So I'll just go in and I'll mark it, and then I know. Then I know how deep to make it, how much leather. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
hold it up to the end here.
You're slightly out of frame,
Oh,
JP.
sorry. I hold it up to the end here, and
Mm-hmm.
then I just clip flat across. It's always to be a little more generous at this point, because if you cut too much, then you've cut too much, versus you can always cut more.
Right, you can
And
just cut it.
I check, and that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think maybe I'll cut just a tiny bit more.
Mm-hmm. And again, you're a little out of frame.
Oh, am I in now?
You are.
Okay, so then this is going to go in here, and see how
Mm-hmm.
nice. I don't see any of the leather. It's just
Mm-hmm.
nice and smooth. And so then I will take my Zap glue. I love
Mm-hmm.
my Zap glue.
Agreed.
Life without Zap glue is, and I don't need more than that. That's just enough, just a little. And is the word slather? It's not
Mm-hmm.
slather. This is like a very delicate little opening. So go a little bit at a time. I'm in the frame, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just putting it there. And then I'll put some right on the leather end. Kate is really the queen of gluing.
No, I don't know about that.
You
That
are.
was great.
Um, I sometimes fall asleep to you when you're gluing.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause you're
You're a little out of frame, JP. There you go.
And then I'm just going to, let me take a little bit of it off. What's that little bit? And now I'm just going to, what us experts call, I'm just going to shove it in.
Yep, that's it.
And then I'll take another toothpick and just.
Right, clean it up with just a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, JP, lay that down on the surface. It'll come into more focus. There we go.
that's it. And I just,
And what I would do before you connect or wear or do any of this, I would let that sit. I like to let my glue sit overnight.
mm,
Um, so then, because that's the point where everything is going to be held
mhm.
on your piece.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you want, if you don't want to be messing around at all, I would I'd
Mm-hmm.
probably, attach everything to the end already so that when I'm ready, after the gluing is done, I don't have to manipulate pliers and
Mm-hmm.
other things. You could do that if you wanted to, but
Mm-hmm.
that's basically how it's done. And on the other end, you
We
come
just do
in,
the same thing. Yeah.
and well, let me show you this end. You come down, you finish this at the other end, you put your threads through and then cut them, and then you're going to cut your leather just like we did the other end, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's
That's
done.
it. Yeah. And
It.
then you also have the ability for that chain to go ahead and make it adjustable for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Easy
right.
breezy. That's what we should have called it. Easy breezy.
All right. Let me get both of us here. There
Okay.
we go. All right. Janice, epic.
Katie,
Let me say, I'm going to cover you for just a second,
cover
JP,
me.
and
I love to
say,
be covered.
and say, folks, don't forget, you can find us everywhere on social, our Facebook group, our Instagram page, our Pinterest. Hit that like and subscribe notification button. If you're watching this on replay or when you watch it on replay, Ellen will have everything timestamped. So all the timestamps will be below and you can get right to the section that you want to see. But we really do appreciate you being here with us on our Free Tip Friday and with all of this wonderful chat, especially for Janice's birthday. If you have any questions, folks, don't hesitate to shoot an email out to us at info@beadshop.com. And you can stay in touch with us, of course, by subscribing to our newsletter, and get your newsletter this week, and my friends, because you'll want that discount code that's in
Mhm.
there. So jump on to your newsletter. I'm going to be back next week with I've got to look at the schedule. But we've got a lot of fun stuff. There'll be some more Bead Shop Studio drops coming up soon. Janice, everyone is wishing you such a
That's,
happy birthday. Happy Mother's Day to all of you who
yeah,
celebrate. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. And
yeah.
Janice, many, many more years of health and
Thank
happiness.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. I feel so loved. I really do. So,
Oh, awesome. Oh, and of course, Emily is with
Emily,
us on Wednesday because
yes.
we've got a wonderful drop of new product coming on Tuesday that she
And
is
she's doing color
going
blocking.
to be
And then on
using.
Friday,
Hmm.
she's going to teach us tricks to doing color mixing of,
Hmm.
like, you have 8 dots. How do you
Hmm.
make a mix?
Hmm.
Your
No,
own
that's not this
original.
weekend. That's with her. Um,
You sure?
I think so. That's with her crocheted piece.
Oh, okay.
She's going to, I think. I
Okay.
don't know. I have to look. I have to
Well,
look.
she's doing it at some time,
Yes,
which is
soon.
really great. But she's going to teach us about color blocking. Um, it's a really wonderful, beautiful project on memory wire. It's really,
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And we've got a lot of wonderful new beads coming for you
yeah.
folks. All right. Well, happy weekend, all. Thank you again,
Yes.
Janice. You and Drea knocked this project out of the park.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you,
Thank
everybody,
you.
for watching.
Yes. And I will see you next week, everybody, with Emily. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Okay.